jail for first-degree murder, knowing he had a badge, knowing that that badge is polarized as I can kick your ass a ticket, you know what I'm saying? Like I can do whatever I want with this badge, you know what I'm saying? And it's bad to know that, you know, and it's just that we have to learn how to have more self-restraint, especially now. Like I feel like, you know, if I see my brothers and my sisters in the street going head up, I'm with them. But we gotta be smart. We can't be smart with our fists. We gotta be smart with our mouths. We gotta be smart with the pens. We gotta be smart with the petition. We gotta be smart and try. And like I said, get to the table, because legislation not gonna move until we get to the table. Shut down the businesses. Take our money. Keep our money in our pockets. Give it to black-owned businesses. Do all those things that we supposedly had in the 30s and 40s. People don't realize in the 30s and 40s, black people were some of the wealthy and richest people in the country, in their own small communities, until gentrification found out that they were doing a lot. They were educating themselves. They were self-reliant on their own people, their own families. There were a lot of black family-owned businesses in the 30s and 40s and the 50s. My grandfather came here in 1955, second grade education. 1952, second grade education. Amen. Mechanic out of the army. He was a staff sergeant mechanic out of the army. Had a mechanic shop on Burn Street and Utica Avenue across the street from the 77th precinct for 62 years on a second grade education, and owned the entire corner. So people can't tell me that black people can't do it, and there's no excuse. And he didn't give no excuses. Could barely read, could barely write, but knew how to sign his name on the check. Knew how to sign his name when it was time to get property. You understand what I mean? Like, we can't make, oh, we've been dealing with this so long as an excuse for us to go out there and go wild right now. No, this is not the time for being wild. Is it time for our voices to be heard? Yes, time for us to be heard. But we got to do it smart. We have to do it with a strategy. We have to do it with a plan. Because if we just go out there saying we're going to war with the police and the U.S. government, guess who's going to win that fight? We a small rat trying to get a big piece of the cheese out here in the world. And they own the big cheese because they got all the traps in the world waiting for us. You know what I'm saying? So we got to be smart. Like you said, like I'm saying, a rat is the most intelligent mouse one of the most intelligent animals on earth. You know why? Because he pays attention to detail. You don't see rats coming to your house or a mouse coming to your house wanting food and not pay attention to his surroundings. We have to pay attention right now to our surroundings. They looking for us to jump and buck and act wild so they can martial law the African American people, man. So we got to be smart, man.
That's right. That's right. Yo, what up, AB?
We got AKB in here.
What's going on? How do you get the sound going?
But we can hear you.
We can hear you clear, bro.
All right, cool. I'm good. How you guys doing?
Everything's good, man. How you doing, bro?
I'm glad y'all allowed me to be on here. My mouth is.
I was trying to link this up so that this way we could get this on Facebook, kind of stream it live. Is there? Okay. Do you guys have it streaming?
Yeah, I'm trying to get it on Facebook. On YouTube right now. Facebook doesn't work too well with Zoom. I try to get on Zoom. It works every once in a while. But for some reason, YouTube is really, really acting funny, man. She's not acting right. So I'm trying. Okay. As we're talking, I'm actually working. That's why G been going on, bro. And I've just been trying to work at it. So y'all can continue, bro. I'm trying to work at it right now as we talk.
Well, y'all know y'all can ask me anything, man. I don't shy away from nothing. So, you know, especially now.
That's one too.
Yeah, man. But so we were basically talking about, you know, the arrest of the officer that murdered our brother in
Brother Floyd.
Yeah. And I don't know if you heard, he was actually brought up on charges.
Yeah, so he was brought up on third-degree murder charges, but the problem that I have with the third-degree murder charges is this. Third degree leaves room for wiggle room. It should have been second degree based on some of the schematics that happened. One of the schematics is this. When the officer had his knee pinned down on Floyd's neck. A minute and 53 seconds went by, and they had checked for a pulse, and he continued to leave his knee in his neck.
Right.
So that in itself shows it was a blatant disregard and disrespect for human life right there. To your point, Willie, I heard you mentioning some of the things about communities and stuff like that. Look, I'm a child coming up from a long time ago. The N-word is something that I heard when I was 6 years old.
Oh, yeah.
And from a young person, you immediately begin to learn that there's a title attached to you because of the color of your skin. I went to a Catholic school where I was 1 out of 5, the only children of color in that school. Wow. So the N-word has been perpetuated through my entire life. I knew what my position was long ago. And, you know, people getting hit, beat up, and this behavior has been going on since slavery, since we were brought over here. We even carry that same mentality in how we raise our children. You know, there was a way, there was a book that I read, and it's called Slave Mentality. And this book described the thought process, even down to what we eat, because we were eating things that were basically scraps that came from other people's tables. Right. And the reality behind this isn't just Minnesota. This is everywhere. This has happened I've never feared for myself. We have many challenges. It's not just police brutality. We have COVID-19. There's questions in my head as to whether this COVID-19 thing is something that was actually created, or if it was created specifically more so for us. Because if you'll notice, we're the ones who are pretty much at the hands of it and losing our lives to it. And it seems to inflate itself, especially with people who already have predisposed positions. The same dispositions that predisposed circumstances that we have: high blood pressure, diabetes. So when you look in the Black and Latino communities, people of color, these are the things that we have. So this seems to escalate this COVID-19.
I can attest to that.
I do.
I think it's important, and I think what AKB is saying is it should be taken with not just a grain of salt, but it should be taken lightly. That me, and I'll say me because I'll use myself as an example of things. I'm diabetic, so I've been paying attention to what's been going on out here in the field, because I'm more susceptible to COVID-19 than anybody else in my entire house, and my mother as well. But I say that to say that even though I feel from a physiological standpoint, they have created the fear, and not just created it, but they have maximized what they want to do with it once they find out, or if they don't already have vaccinations or cures for this. They've already brought the fear to the forefront to make everybody not only take a step back, but the way to destroy a people is to turn them on their own heads and turn them on each other. So if I hate Sachs because he's 6 feet in front of me, or he's not 6 feet away from me, or if I hate you because you're 2 feet behind me, that's cultural genocide in itself. So why wouldn't they watch us destroy each other and then come in with the hostile takeover? It's already predestined. Try that.
When you're speaking about the takeover, I mean, when you look at communities of color, you know, we could take Louisiana, for instance, when they had the Hurricane Katrina. When they had Hurricane Katrina, always the ethnic neighborhoods were always the hardest hit. So, you know, I don't want to say I'm subscribing to a conspiracy theory, but what I will say is that there was no PPE for the neighborhoods of color. And it kind of made me think. I was saying, well, this is twofold, because if there's no PPE, if people of color still continue to get it, we still coexist. We still are the people who drive the bus, make deliveries, wait tables, whatever those jobs are, whatever those blue collar jobs are, we're involved in those jobs. And as a result, we're going to keep passing this around. So you can pretend like you don't have to help our communities or help our people, but the reality behind it is it's implied. Because if you want to continue to exist, unless you are the privileged few,
right?
You know, I mean, think about it this way. The president's over here and he's saying, yeah, you know, open businesses, open churches, and so forth and so on. But the White House isn't open.
No, sir.
White House is closed.
And they got masks
on.
All of them.
Of course they have masks on, everyone except the one who's taking hydrochloroquine.
Right.
So he feels that he's impervious to this, which then implies in my mind, well, what is it that you know? What is it that you have? Or what information that you have? What vaccine might you have? Or what might you have that obviously tells me that you have no fear of this? Because every day I step outside of my house, I'm thinking, am I going to be next?
Well, I say this. I mean, I totally agree with you. From the standpoint where I'm from, and you know how I speak, we've spoken on several occasions, you know, off the record and stuff like that. I'm just, my spiritual base belief is that I don't walk in the spirit of fear, but I have power, love, and a sound mind. So I'm going to always be the optimist. And I'm not speaking on your comments because your comments are your comments, and that's your take. I will always look to the optimism of the situation. It could be worse than what it is. You understand what I mean? And there are some people that we work with that are so pessimistic. And I mean that in the lightest of hearts when I say that, because you don't know because you don't know. And that's fine. But you should never incite pessimism in another person because you don't know their mental state. Like, I've heard about all these people. How are you going to cope with COVID-19? How are you going to do this? How are you going to do that? Encourage one another to keep pushing. That's how you cope. You don't tell a person, oh man, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Yes, you do. If God gives you the grace and gives you the will to get up, it's time to go at it again. It's not time to fall. It's not time to fold or get scared, because that's what they want. That's what the powers that be want. That's what the devil wants. That's what the enemy of your soul and your mind, that's what it wants. It wants you to throw in the towel. I'm a black man that has seen a lot in 43 years, and I'm pretty sure you guys have seen the same. There's no way I'm going to stand back here and know that if you might be succumbing to the mental aspect of what's going on in this world that we thought we would never see in our lifetime, right? I'm not going to sit there and watch you go down. Yo, my brother, you got to keep pushing. We got to keep pushing, because guess what? We out here for a reason. Because somebody going to walk in our doors of our bus or walk in the doors of our home or our job feeling like, yo, I feel like it's over. You know what I mean? People walk up, yo, man, we're about to be over. Since when? The world still turns on its axis. As far as I know, when I walk out the door, it's still spinning. I don't see fires blazing. I don't see water, tidal waves coming. I don't see none of that right now. But if I do see that, then I know my Lord is soon to come. But until that, yo, man, have a great day, man.
Well, you know, Will, the fear that I'm speaking about is not fear like I fear man, because I only fear God. The fear that I speak of is the tools and the instruments. It's almost like, okay, when you saw Katrina and you saw how they dealt with that situation, when you saw how a hurricane or superstorm Sandy came in and how the Rockaways were treated, one side of the Rockaways versus the other side. You had sanitation. You had different individuals that participated in the cleanup. There was an effort. You even saw that how certain individuals had to do what they had to do in order to survive. They got classified as looters, whereas another class of individuals got classified as, you know, you're trying to provide something.
Right.
So there's a stigma. You know, the fear is from being aware. Like, there's been a lot of information that's been floating around about people who get flu shots.
Right.
There's been information relating to autism vaccines.
Right.
So the flu shot, when they come out with a COVID-19 vaccine, I'm not taking it. Why would I put something into my body? Why would I allow anybody to put something into my body? I'm in charge of that. I'll continue on the same path that I know keeps me from getting sick from the flu, as opposed to allowing somebody.
In regards to that now, your belief of not taking it, totally your prerogative, and I get that. You understand what I'm saying? Because we've dealt with so many other pandemics or diseases for so long. It's your personal choice to do that. But let me ask you something regarding, let's say, I'm gonna ask you a question regarding to my stake or my position. I have 3 wonderful children, right? And in order for me to put the possibility, because we don't know if everything is on the up and up whenever they decide to come with a vaccine. We don't know the side effects. We don't know this. We don't know that, right? If I say my mother's a cancer survivor. I deal with type 2 diabetes. So in order for me to not potentially, with the occupation that I work, where I work with the public every day, if you think about your entire career, let me use this analogy, because I don't want to veer off. If you look at your entire career, 19, 20 years, Saxon probably got about 15, 16 years. I got 13, 14 years, right? If you think about 2 people per bus stop that you pick up with all this nonsense going on, right? In a matter of 20 years, you picked up about 60, I say, if anything, I say between 35 to 40 million people in 20 years or 25 years, or close to 25 years you've been there. Saxton maybe about 15 to 19 million. Me about 8 or 9 million people in 14 years, right? Look at those crazy numbers, right? They're not exact. They're of course they're inflated, right? Think about if I walk in my house and not take that vaccination, right? I could have possibly contracted 9 million times this disease and bring it home and potentially kill somebody with enough force from a Mack truck. You know what I mean? So for me to take it, it would be important for me to do it.
But think about this. You know for a fact that when you walk into the Bronx and you look at the advertisements in the Bronx, they advertise liquor, cigarettes. Mm-hmm. And when you get on the Long Island Railroad, the advertisements you're going to see is flyaway vacations, right? And you're going to see advertisements for plays and Broadway things. You see, you have to understand something. And this is something that I learned from somebody who transports blood. Mm-hmm. It's what you see is not necessarily what you get.
True.
What I'm trying to explain to you is that ever since this particular individual got elected, because I'm not going to recognize him as somebody who's a man of a person in authority. Somebody who's in authority is authoritative. They even if they don't like you, they still have a poker face. You see, his right-hand man is a politician. Right. He knows what to say and what not to say. But this is a candid, outright, in my opinion, racist. So at what point, Sax, at what point, Will, am I supposed to feel comfortable believing that you have my best interest in mind, that there's a double vaccine, maybe that vaccine might be one, like what I'm basically trying to tell you is I do not trust our government, because if people can idly stand by, and even our own coworkers, because I've had to take people off of my Facebook, even our own coworkers, they are supportive of an individual who has mocked, who has made fun of, who has even today, or actually last night, said, about looters being shot. He's telling you straight away he supports nationalism, and we know what nationalism is. Oh, yeah. Come on, man. It wasn't long ago that there were fire hoses, dogs, people hanging from trees. Come on, we know this story. We know this story through and through. Mm-hmm. We know that for 400 years, the baton just got passed back, and now you're saying, what's the matter? You can't run the race? The same way as when they had Floyd on the floor, they said, why don't you get up? How are you supposed to get up when you have 4 people on top of you with one person with his knee in the neck? And guess what they're doing now? They've even brought to light the fact that he may have some predisposed position, or he may have had some sort of circumstance. They're already mounting a defense for that police officer to let him get away with this.
But he's already had a track record of violent outbursts.
How many, listen, you know this. Come on, man. You know how this works. And you've seen
a violent outburst. He is linked with the KKK. They found the application in his house. Okay. And the defense is that he was justified to some degree. How could you justify at any degree?
Sachs, just that man laid there for 2 minutes.
Is not a part of proper procedure.
He laid there for 2 minutes, and they said he doesn't have a pulse. If you're talking about somebody resists arrest, look at his posture. His hand was on his hip. When somebody's resisting, that means that individual is putting up a fight.
His hand was
the fight. He said, "Sir, I can't breathe." Do you realize?
Right. At the end of the day, this man's hands was in his pocket. You can't tell me. This is the problem that I have. You can't tell me you felt threatened because of this individual when your hands, as a police
at his side, his hands were at his side.
They were in his pocket, bro. They were in his pocket. You can't sit here and tell me you felt threatened by this individual when your hands are in your pocket. Any police officer that feels threatened by any individual, you're pulling out a taser.
Absolutely. My father's a New York City police officer. Trust me, I understand necessary physical or necessary deadly force. I'm telling you, I understand it. I even took a course at Queens Village Pistol Range because in my previous life, I was a peace officer and I made arrests for petty larceny, criminal possession of stolen property. I've done online booking sheets, 61s. I understand a little bit of the law. I understand what all of these things mean. But what I'm trying to say to you is he kept his knee in place even after 1 minute and 53 seconds had gone by, and he was informed that Lloyd had no pulse. Floyd had no pulse.
None.
How do you explain that? Well, you want to know something? And I'll be honest with you, brother. Respect you, love you, but I'm not. What happened? If you've ever seen the movie Malcolm X, Malcolm X said, "These are men of Islam. They're disciplined. They've broken no crimes." He said, "What about the others in the back?" He said, "That's your problem."
That's your problem.
Well, guess what? That's what's going on. This isn't something that just happened 5 minutes ago.
Well, I will say this, right? 100% in agreement with what you just said. But I do, and I know there's a lot of, if you hear in my responses, okay, it is time. But it is time to make sure that we do it right. You understand what I'm saying?
What's the right way, Will? If I'm a bully,
politicians are not helping us.
If I'm a bully and I turn around and every day you come to school, okay, I slap the taste out your mouth. Every day you come to school,
you want me to respond? Okay. We're going to get it on.
I slap the taste out of your mouth every single day.
We're going to get it on until you respect what I'm saying.
Well, guess what? The looting, listen, I'm not gonna deny it. We all know that's how there was DJs created back in the day. Right. When the blackout happened, the hood went in because they capitalized on an opportunity.
Right.
The socially and economically disenfranchised youth. Mm-hmm. This didn't happen because we wanted this position. This is the position we were given. The fixed poker deck. This has been going on.
I think with this whole thing going on, we've been forced. Our hands have been forced. You understand what I'm saying?
We didn't have a choice. We had to. There had to be the outrage. Brother Saxon,
my question to you, Arnold, is this, right? We do all of that.
Mm-hmm.
We do all of that. We destroy whatever we have to destroy to be heard. Martin Luther King said it best, right? He says, rioting is the voice of the unheard that have not been heard, right? So then, in those sentiments, in that statement alone that he made, it's still in him, in his grandeur, in what we celebrate him to be, right? It still was a statement of concern. Yes, I know this is going to happen, but I'm concerned about the aftermath. What's the aftermath? You know what I'm saying? Because even though we do all of that, they destroyed the police station down there. Like, they literally set it on fire, right?
Yep.
And I get it. I'm not, you're not gonna hear me say, yo, they didn't deserve that. They do. They did. But the simple fact that now you see what we've been dealing with all these years, now it's coming back to bite you. But still, what's the aftermath? Where do we go after they've put out all the fires? Well, whoever they arrest, whoever stops it, whoever started it, what's the next move after that? Because the rambling is going to go on before the calm. You understand? So what happens when
Willie, you already said it.
Huh?
You already told me that if that bully was picking on you day after day, you was going to G.
But then what happens after that?
Well, what happens after that is, you understand, that bully understands one thing about Willie.
Right.
He knows that instead of every day that you come to school, that he's going to jump in your behind. He knows that there's going to be a response. Sometimes
is there a response after the response, though?
The response after the response is this: when you have people of color who have been perpetuated by the government as a threat, as a problem, that they've allowed any different type of lowered circumstance that they can impose upon us, taking on gentrification, the sheer economics of the things that, or the goods and services that are being provided for the people who don't have the ability to take care of themselves. What about, the Republicans? They don't care anything about you, me, or anybody else. And that orange guy, he's only in office to take care of his people. When he wakes up in the morning and swirls his head inside that cotton candy machine to get his due on.
I don't mean to say no jokes. That's why I don't have no problem spending the money that he's spending.
He don't care nothing about you and I.
Right, he don't care about us.
This, brother man, this is what I call, in my opinion, anarchy. This is anarchy.
I agree. And look, I gave my wife this sentiment, right, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, right? Remember Black Panther Party, early 60s, late 70s, COINTELPRO, Ronald Reagan, state of California versus Black Panther Party. They took the Third Amendment right to bear arms away from Black Panther Party because it bear arms in the state of California. Right? You know that, right? So I asked my wife, with all this going on, I said, you got 2 choices in this household because I know what's coming next because I've seen this before. I said, we either get the dog or get the gun. She's not for either one. But I said, you have to secure your home because guess what? Self-preservation for Black people is their #1 priority right now, especially right now, right? So me wanting to preserve the safety of my home and your legacy or his legacy, being smart about it, we should do so. We should be able to bear and protect our homes right now because they're coming for that. That's the next thing. You know what I'm saying? You see how it's shutting down.
What's going on, brother? What's going on, brother Tony Miles?
Hey, what's up, Tony?
Miles, what's going on?
Peace, brother.
Hey, Willie, I really want to hear what Saxton was trying to say, and I didn't
I'm
mean
sorry,
to
Sax,
interrupt
my
him.
fault.
Bro, all the points is coming out. That's why I'm just sitting here just listening to y'all, man. All your points is coming out strong.
Yeah, but we want to hear. Listen. This is a forum, man. Your voice is necessary. It's needed.
Can you cats hear me?
Yes, sir.
You got you. You down?
Oh, okay. What I miss out on so far?
So we've been covering a little bit of COVID-19. We've been discussing, obviously, the hot topic in the news, brother Floyd that lost his life over in Minnesota.
Yes, of course.
We've been talking about that guy that I don't know. I think somewhere there's an Arby's missing the guy that normally posts cake down.
Pumpkinhead.
I don't listen. We don't have a president.
I heard somebody mention the color orange.
Orange.
So is he considered Agent Orange?
Brother Miles, I don't. You know, we joke about this guy, but this is a dangerous man. You know, keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer.
No doubt.
I can't even listen to him anymore.
Mm-hmm.
He got on the news today. He spoke about China. That was it. He didn't want to answer no questions because he knew this was a hot topic that could potentially affect his political career. But he managed to tweet out, you know, where there's looting, there'll be shooting.
What political career?
Well, you know,
The one he feels he has.
Just to chime in on what Green was saying earlier, you know, the anger that we have right now, I mean, it's justified as it is. There has to be a smart plan behind everything we do because we don't want to go back to the whole Rodney King situation and just start tearing up our neighborhoods just because we pissed off with the situation that happened with Brother Floyd. You understand what I'm saying? At the end of the day, we want to at least make sure that this carries over. It has to carry over. There has to be something after all of this that's like Green was saying, there has to be something afterwards because we have to have peace. We have to have some type of solace after all of this is done. You know what I mean?
I'm sorry. I don't subscribe to that. I subscribe to Malcolm X. I say fight the power. I'm tired of hearing. I'm tired. That peaceful.
Are fair and just. Arnold, they're fair.
Listen. How many friendly marches have they had prior to them getting to the point where they had to start tearing things up and burning it down? Look, let's be real with one another. Insurance will pay for those businesses to open themselves back up, but that man is never going to see his family ever again. He's never going to breathe again.
I agree.
He's never going to be around his. So, you know, business is nothing more than a building. But I understand your point is you're trying to say, hey, look, you know, we need to have a different response. But initially, they need to the same fear.
What I'm saying to you is this. Having a Malcolm X approach, what's the after? What are we looking for after?
Well, think about it this way. When I get pulled over by a police officer, do you know what my posture is as a man of color? I turn my car off. I turn the interior lights on. Right. I put the keys on the dashboard. Right. I put my hands on the dashboard. I tell the inspecting officer if I need to pull my license or my registration out of the glove compartment to shine a light on that. Not everybody has that gift of gab to be able to say or articulate what it is that they want. But the reality behind it is, do you understand that I go through all of that because I don't want him to feel or get uncomfortable and get itchy, especially when he sees a big brother, a man of color, and he may feel like he's threatened.
Well, what's your afterthought?
My afterthought on this is, I'll tell you, I'll answer that question. My thought right now is I rightfully understand when people get tired. Because just like that bully's been hitting Willie on a regular basis, Willie turned around and said, well, you know what? I'm gonna have to jump in that ass. I'm gonna have to stop this. And sometimes the response isn't necessarily, I'm gonna go to school and have a conversation and say, well, you know, can we try to find a way to resolve this peacefully? Sometimes, unfortunately, and you've seen this in many instances, including the Civil War, violence is what it's. Some people don't understand the street mentality. You can talk to people, but the streets, when they're ready, they're going in. They're not going to turn around and have a conversation with you. They're going to punch you in the face.
100%.
Well, let me ask you a question, right? I'm glad you made that point, right? When the streets are ready, right? As you said, I'm from South Jamaica, Queens, born and raised.
That's me. Me too.
Fox, right? So I grew up in the era of Fat Cat Nichols, Pat Mason, those guys. I grew up knowing his son playing dice on the corner and didn't know who his son was until he finally told me who he was, right? So I've seen the way the police policed us in those early 80s and 90s. I've literally walked home from PS 160 from picking my sister up from school. Both my sisters. They were 9 and 7 at the time, and I was 13. And literally had a gun pointed in my mouth by a police officer because they thought I was one of the runners on the corner. So I understand your gist of why you say I'm programmed, and I'm not saying you per se, but the programmed way of thinking is to make sure that they don't see you as a threat. Walking home, we're a threat. Walking in a certain neighborhood, we're either a threat to somebody or somebody's a threat to us. But your mindset can't stay like that, because who's it going to benefit once your mindset snaps off and say, you know what, the hell with this, we're going to tear it up. And then the aftermath of that is like, well, we did it, but what did we gain from it? I'm with you on the, yo, you got to do it. Sometimes you got to do it. But
well, it's when you get to a point, but you said at first it's a talk, then it becomes a yell and nobody hears you. I listen, no stranger to it, was in the projects, went over to a couple of houses, was looking for a friend from school, knocked on some wrong doors, made a decision that I wasn't going to find the individual that I was seeking. Went back to my building, stood in the lobby. Housing police pull up. One officer gets out, walks towards one building. The other officer gets out, walks towards mine. As soon as he opened the door, he pulled his gun out of his holster and stuck it in my ribs. I damn near pissed my pants. My whole life flashed before me, and I'm like,
oh yeah, absolutely.
What I'm saying to myself, what's going on? And then, he turns around, searches me, frisks me, looks in my little pocket in my jeans, obvious to see if I had marijuana, see if I had drugs. Right. Spun me around and said, where do you live? I said, here, in this building.
Right.
What I'm trying to say to you is, if you turn around and you take the soft line, that's wonderful. But I don't think America's watching. And it ain't just us. There are white people involved in this saying they get it. I've had people reach out to me like as if I was the victim. And to a certain extent, all of us are victims. Tony, you're a victim. Will, you're a victim. Sax, you're a victim. We're all victims, because at some point in time, just like you told that story, I'm sure Sax has a story. I'm sure Tony has a story.
I got the story because I grew up in South Jamaica in the late 60s, early 70s. So just like Green is saying, I knew them cats because they're only a few years older than I am. And I grew up amongst all that. But to get to the point of say, hey, how you mentioned you're for the Malcolm X. I'm for that when the situation happened and you do it right then. Waiting to make it happen, that's when the politics happen. If I feel that if you're gonna go through a situation like that, you call your peoples, look, this is what happened, blah blah blah. What are we going to do? If you got a crew that's with it, guns blazing, and not typically saying pow, 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 but whatever means necessary. If it's verbal or if it's physical, whatever it entails at that moment. But to do it days later, weeks later, that gives them too much time to prepare for whatever their backlash is going to be.
Well, they've already put the National Guard out there, and they've imposed a curfew.
Mm-hmm.
It's too late for that. It's too late for that. They know that. They're looking for reasons to take you off the gun. You know what I'm saying? They take it to unload the banana clip, so to speak. They know that that's what they're really going there for, and that's my point. Where yes, I agree that it should happen. I agree that sometimes you got to tear up some stuff for people to hear your plight. You know what I'm saying? But then now you got to
not to cut you off, Green.
What's gonna happen after?
But not to cut you off. Is that tearing up theirs or tearing up ours?
Right, that's what I'm getting to. Like, we're tearing up our stuff. And even though it may seem like it belongs to corporate America, or it belongs to the powers that be that built it or put it there, or put it there for our self-benefit, right? Not really our benefit fiscally, but they tore up a Target. Let's think about how many African American people in Minneapolis go in that Target and shop every single day for their household needs and their lifelines of what they use in their household, feed their families every day. Where they going now? That's the stupid stuff I'm talking
Hey, Willie, think about this. Willie, you're all of us.
In a pandemic when
Tony,
people are going hungry.
But what I'm saying to you is, we're all intelligent men here. We all have common sense. You know, that type of thought process is not something that's processing. When you're pissed off, that's why if you're ever mad at a friend, you always wait 2 or 3 days before you have that conversation so you can calm down. But the reality is not everybody has the thought process to say, you know what, I'm going to turn around and I'm going to make this happen differently. I'm going to try this, that, and the other. But to be honest with you, and according to the activists that I listened to today, this is not the first time. They have a tradition of towing the line in this particular community. And it doesn't just exist there. It existed when I was in the Bronx and I worked, and I was on Post Avenue, and everybody knew the drill. The police would literally come by and tell them, assume the position. Everybody knew exactly what to do. They turned around, and after they were finished searching or doing whatever they did, they would get on the mic and say, disperse. That's the way. Would that ever be accepted in any other community that you know of? And you understand where I'm going with this. It's not. So when you're angry, you're not going to go, well, you know, you don't care. All you know is that I'm burning something. I'm destroying something. I'm breaking something. And you're going to do it closest to whoever it is.
My thing is, like when I mention theirs or ours, not more so white, black, or whatever, because ours are meaning those that own businesses and give back to those communities that they're in. Theirs are those.
There's only a handful.
Excuse me,
Miles. We know that there's only a handful of those that we know of.
Yeah. So those that
That's my
aren't
point. Like,
giving back, that own businesses in our community and don't give back to those communities, they take those dollars and go elsewhere, be it black, white, Chinese, whoever. That's theirs to me. That's theirs.
Right.
So when I say us, ours, or theirs, that's theirs. Those that they take from the community and don't give back to the community.
I was in another chat last night, right? And I was listening in, and everybody's talking about June 5th, Juneteenth, and shutting it down and keeping the black dollar within the black dollar. That's all well and good, right? But what happens on June 16th? You know what I'm saying? Like, one day's not going to make up 460 years of oppression when it came to us not being fiscally able to uplift ourselves and uplift our people. Let's think about it. How many real businesses, if not mechanical, having to do with beautification or hair salons or barbershops or
eateries,
500 America companies do we own?
None, hardly
what? Any, right?
A percentage.
If we do
percentage
own a barbershop,
of a percentage.
we own the name of the barbershop. We don't own the physical body of the barbershop.
Yeah. That.
But Willie, but Tony, isn't. But you can't wear two hats. You can't turn around and tell me you're gonna kick the bullies behind. What I'm saying to you is, think about this. You said to me, if the bully came at you on a daily basis, so the bully being law enforcement, the mistreatment, the mishandling of cases, even the judicial system that's designed to make sure that you get locked up and to not provide you any sort of attorney. You get somebody who basically will tell you, plea out, accept the lighter charge and take the conviction. What I'm saying to you is, you said to me yourself, if after a while, you're going to turn around and you're going to go at the bully, you're going to beat his behind. You're not going to turn around and calculate how you're going to beat his behind. You're going in. And this is what happened. This was a powder keg that exploded. and this came by ways, they were warned. There were meetings with activists and different influential people within the neighborhood that told them that the community was tired of the brutality and the mistreatment of people of color. And we all agreed that this happened in all of our communities. And I grew up in Astoria, Queens. It happened there. You guys grew up in South Jamaica, Saks, if I'm not mistaken, Brooklyn. It happened to all of us. So after a while, I don't, when I'm upset and when I've been beaten down and abused for years upon years, my response is not going to be one that's going to be, at a certain point, when you back somebody to a corner, they're going to lash out. This was something, but think about it in this aspect. Everybody is now watching that, whether you burned your community or anybody else's, every camera, every person who you could think of has got a camera focused on what's happening. And it's bringing consciousness and awareness that this has been going on, that this has been happening. Unfortunately, when you look at a circumstance, when you go in that hard, because I've not heard anything about Minnesota until this happened. Once this happened, they're on the map. That man's name is etched in our minds.
Forever. Just
the same way Trayvon Martin, all of those names are etched in your mind. You know about it. So the response is because you spoke, you yelled, you screamed, and nobody heard you 3 times. Well, that last choice is naturally going to be you going the route of anarchy. Okay, I'm going to have to rise up against the machine because the machine is taking me out. We keep getting that foot on our neck, that knee on our neck. We keep getting pushed down. I'm not taking anymore. I'm coming out swinging. Malcolm X said it that way.
You're a realist, and I truly believe that you are.
Malcolm X said, you know, chickens came home to roost.
Okay, but he also said, defending yourself is not a spiritual thing. Defending yourself is intelligence. That's what.
But this isn't. This is not a defense.
No, I'm not saying it is. I'm saying what Malcolm said. Malcolm always wanted his people to be intelligent before they strike anything.
Absolutely.
He always told our people, get the information first before you act. So if I know I've been getting beat up every day, right? Like you said, you gave me that analogy. I'm getting beat up every day in this one particular place, right? I'm gonna gather all the information I can right now, right? Dude likes to catch me on this period of the day. He knows exactly where I'm coming from. He knows exactly where I'm going, and he knows exactly how he can catch me on any angle, wherever I'm coming from. If I'm coming from one side of the corridor in the school to the next side, he knows exactly where he's gonna meet up with me at, right? So me being the victim, now I gather all this information up. I done got beaten up 3 or 4 times. I know where this guy's coming from. I know how he's gonna try to get at me. I know who he might have with him. I know exactly what he wants. I done gather all this information up now. I got what I need to strike, right? I got what I need. So when I walk up on him, or I'm not going to change my course of direction, because at the end of the day, my destination is where he is, right? So now that I know my destination is still where he's at, and he's standing in front of me, I got all the information I need to pounce on him, right? After that, 2 people got to think. The person that just got pounced on and the person that's pouncing. I got to have an afterthought after I've done that. I did that to protect myself, but at the end of the day, I didn't want to do that. So he needs to think about what he just did to provoke me to get there.
But Willie, your point, but you said to me, see, and this is what I keep bringing to your attention. That's your response. You're an intelligent, educated man. So is Tony. So is Dwayne. What I'm talking about is I'm talking about Kabubi. Kabubi was a brother that grew up in the neighborhood who he didn't understand. He didn't have that mentality. All he knew is he had very little. Yeah, Kabubi sold drugs. Yeah, Kabubi was riding around in the car with a screwdriver stuck inside the ignition. He lived on the wrong side of the law. He was living it wrong. But he had that mentality. He had a mentality where he didn't understand how to escape or use any tools to get past that. That works for you. That works for Tony. That works for Dwayne and me. But what about Kabubi? See, Kabubi drove around the neighborhood and you said, yo, Kabubi, what you doing? Yo, I'm holding down the block.
But see, that's missing.
So Kabubi ain't gonna turn around and be like, yeah, well, you know, I'm gonna calculate with Kabubi. If he went to school and this dude, Kabubi's coming back and he's coming strapped. He's like, yo, Duke's been flying my cabbage and rocking my dome every day. I'm tired of this. I'm gonna turn him into a pencil.
Is he less important? Is he less important because he's misinformed?
No, he's not less important. What I'm saying is, we have gifts. My mother didn't allow me not to have an education. I couldn't speak a certain way in the house. I had to have these tools because she told me. She said, "This is already your strike." She says, when you go do something, you have to be 10 times better than somebody else in order to arrive at the same place that they did.
I agree.
So my skin has always been my sin. I told you from 6th grade, I got called a nigga. 6th grade, 6 years old, 1st grade, Catholic school. So my title was already implied.
So my family is a little bit mixed. So, like I said, I see both sides of the fence. So like I said, Arnold, I get it. And like I said, for one, I'm definitely not against us pushing back. We got to, in order for us to still be stitched in whatever this American society is, we gotta push back. Otherwise, we'll be pushed off the board. You know what I'm saying?
Well, look at when you saw the movie with Spike Lee, Do the Right Thing. What'd they do?
Oh, they choked Radio Raheem out. We know that.
So Radio Raheem got choked out. They didn't go down the block, whatever. They were trying to destroy. What I'm trying to tell you is, I understand myself as somebody who has education, who can articulate my needs. But I also understand the brothers that I grew up with that don't have that. The people who weren't as fortunate as I was to get schooling or education, or for whatever reason, it was drugs going on in their house, or alcoholism, or some of the other plagues that have been placed upon the Black communities in order to keep us from having any ability to go higher up.
I saw all of that. So I can't relate. I saw all of that. So I came up in a household with my mother and 2 sisters and no daddy in the house because he was out drinking and drugging and doing his own thing. You know what I'm saying? And being a Rolling Stone, whatever he wanted to do. And for me, my education was the street. That was, some of those people were my role models. Did I model them to follow them? No. But the education part of me paying attention to what they're doing is, if you do this, this is your end result.
Well, I want to hear what Tony and I want to hear what Brother Miles and Brother Sachs have to say.
Out of everything that we've talked about, right? As we've grown, as men, we have an archive that we have to now place before our own kids. Okay, me, when I talk to my kids, I tell them my archive. I tell them where I grew up. I've taken them to my own pyramids, okay? And I've shown them what I've done. The reason why we do these things is because we want our kids to have better, to think higher, understand more. You understand what I'm saying? So we have to archive everything that we've just talked about. I love to hear the stories about other guys and how they grew, because it shows that passion we don't usually do as men. A lot of us are afraid to. I said this to Miles. We've had this conversation a long time ago. Guys are so afraid to tell another dude,
"You love him."
I love him.
We talk about that. Yo.
I say it all the time.
If you sincere with another individual, it takes nothing away from your manhood. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I'm not
Absolutely.
gonna say
I
I
agree.
had a conversation with a young guy one day, and he was telling me, "Oh, you gotta pause that." But I don't have to pause anything. I'm super sincere, and I understand my manhood. If you gotta pause it, that's on you. I don't have to pause nothing. I don't even know.
Ain't nothing wrong with saying love you, bro. Ain't
So,
nothing wrong with that. I say it all the time.
not coming off a topic, what I'm saying to y'all is that there's a lot of stuff that we've done. There's a lot of pain that we've endured. There's a lot of things that we've seen, okay? Maybe we might not have done it or experienced it ourselves, but things that we've seen that when we see things like this today, it just resurfaces all of those feelings, all of that pain.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying? So
Amen. Mm-hmm.
Especially if you went through it.
If I'm putting myself in green spot, yo, at the moment, I'm beating that bully up. He's down. You understand what I'm saying? But knowing me, how I am, there's an outcome to this because we can't keep doing this every day. So at the end of the day, we need to sit down and have a conversation about what we're doing. Because you don't want me.
Well, you do realize you have 3 bullies. Right now, our 3 bullies are COVID-19, the government, and the police department. You got 3 agencies. You got a president who's promoting division.
Correct.
You have a police department that, and I told you my father was a police officer. You have rogue police officers that don't represent the entire department, but just like at our job, we work for the city of New York. Get it? You have certain dudes that they'll watch you struggle and they let you die. They don't care. The point I'm trying to make is at this time, we're already pissed off because we fall on the low schematic. More bus operators are dying. So you know what the New York City Transit is comprised of more blacks and Latinos than the system is black. Let's just put it that way.
Right.
And you also know that COVID-19 has put people on unemployment. People are already pissed off. So in the middle of a pandemic, when people are already tight and pissed off, now you're going to add to the fact that you actually want to do this too? Like we're not suffering enough from unemployment. We're not suffering enough from all the things that COVID has put us through. We're not suffering enough that our communities are not being provided with PPE and the information that we need, proper information, proper education to say, hey, listen, you got to wear a mask. You got to do this. You got to. And now on top of it, now we getting beat up like hotcakes again?
Yeah.
Come on, man. Dude, I got white people coming to me telling me, yeah, you know, like literally trying. Like, I'm pissed off, man, and I'm pissed off, man. You know, and I guess maybe it's because when I was a kid, I got bullied. I was that weakling. I was that skinny, frail kid that was getting his behind kicked on a regular basis. So this, to me, honestly, love all y'all, bruh, but this is completely 1,000% unacceptable. And if somebody got to throw something, sometimes you just
But like it still sends to my point. Like what's the end result?
Yeah.
We can do that all
but you're seeing the end result, Will.
Is it really an end result?
The end result is there's focus on it. The media is covering it. People are watching. Do you know that any case that gets tried that has...
Are they sensationalizing this?
I think we're still...
Of course they are.
I think we're still in...
Like for me,
we're still in...
As much as I watch the news and I watch everything that goes on right now, I truly believe that this is just sensationalization right now to say, look, and I try not to use this word because I got young sons and I don't ever want them using the word because it's not a tour of endearment because that's the way our people use it. But they're using it.
Wait a minute, hold on, Will. What is the sensationalism? Because I don't see a sensationalism. I'm looking past. I look past all the fluff.
Will go off, right?
There's a dead man.
When black people go off, it's usually a trickle effect. It starts from one end of the spectrum to the other, and everybody is in the same boat. We all want to do it, right? And with the media, when they catch that, they're like, These guys been animals for forever, but we've suppressed them forever. And now that they
Tony, what would you do? Tony, what would you do?
Well, my thing is straight off is the end all. I think Green mentioned what's the end all basically. The end all is laws being created and enforced when situations like this happen, because in the end, that's really, if there's no laws created after each one of these situations, that right off the bat, like that gentleman, he had his knees on this gentleman's neck for like, what, 10 minutes, hands in his pocket, because he knew that nothing was going to happen to him. Well, he thought nothing was going to happen to him. And if you could look at his face and his posture, he did it just like hands in,
master on a slave that ran off the plantation. He caught him. Hands
off in his pocket. I ain't worrying about nothing. People in the
Tony, even after they said to him, he doesn't have a pulse. He maintained his posture for another minute and 50. Do you know that police officers are not only cops, they're supposed to be first responders?
Yes.
So as a first responder, if somebody says to you, I can't breathe, and you know that any person, I was in the military, when somebody gets shot or when they're mortally wounded, they begin to call out for their mother. He called for his mother. His mother's dead. He called out for his mother.
Wow. His mother actually.
He called out for his mother. He said to him, you can clearly hear it. He said, sir, still showing respect. I can't breathe. Yeah. You can't, when I hear that, listen.
And what about the gentlemen? What about the cops that are right there listening to all that also too? They're thinking about trying to keep people.
They mentioned turning him over.
After
they said, should we turn him over? So what is it? That tells you that you know that the position you have him in, something is horribly wrong. You know. What I'm trying to say to you is, I get it. Yeah, we got to have an educated solution, this, that, and the other. But at a certain point, just like when Willie said, Willie turned around, he said, his first response to the bully was, I'm kicking his ass. His second response is, okay, then we can have meaningful dialogue and try to figure this out from that point forward. But to be quite honest with you, I honestly believe, Willie, after you broke a foot off in his ass, he's going to turn around. He's going to be like, I ain't fucking with him no more.
Well, that's my point. Like there is an aftermath. There is a resolve. If his resolve is, I'm not messing with.
I'm sorry, Tony. I'm sorry.
No. I hear what you're saying.
That's the resolve he came to. Now, what if I say, yo, listen, man, I don't really want no beef with you. Now, you ain't gonna keep doing this to me. We're gonna have to thump. But at the end of the day, you still gotta walk these streets by yourself, and so do I. So,
but Willie, that's what I'm telling you. That was said already. That's been said. This is what I'm saying to you. And this,
I just kicked his ass, right? You just said that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
His resolve would be, look, I done messed with this guy so long, he done got tired of me. I don't think that this ass kicking that I got, if I try to rebut this, it's going to be the same way. He might come some way totally different, might be more violent, might be more crucifying than I did the first time. I'm only saying that if that's his resolve to stop, that's his resolve to some sort of reasoning, like gotta be dead, then that's on him. And then my resolve would look, I know that I can get the best of him because I done mustered up enough balls to say, look, I'm not taking this no more. I got you there. But then once I done bust him down to the white meat, what am I going to do after that?
You know what, Will? I gotta be honest with you. I gotta be honest with you. You know, when you go years like all of us have, and you see, like, I'm not naive. Right. I see, even when it comes to COVID-19, what I'm telling you is my eyes are open You can't fool me. You can't turn around and tell me how it took so long to have a holiday for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. But meanwhile, you glorified Christopher Columbus. Listen, what I'm trying to say to you is, you know, the same way we're sitting here having calculated conversations about things is the same thing that's been going on for a long time. But after a while, it's no more. You know, women had the Me Too movement. No more. No more. And if that means that,
who suffers for that,
you know,
if it's no more, Arnold? Who suffers for that?
What do you mean who suffers for it? So,
I have
all right, well then,
offspring.
that's why
You
I asked
suffer
Tony.
because
I said,
I'm tired of the BS.
I asked Tony and I asked Dwayne, I said, so, okay, I get it. You want to have dialogue. You said that
that's
you.
not what I said. That's not
Okay,
what I said.
then I misunderstood you. I'm sorry.
I'm simply saying that if we have a disagreement, which it's okay to we can agree to respectfully disagree with each other, right? All I'm saying is, what is our resolve? Whether we don't agree or we agree.
Okay, so then in this instance, you know the background. There's a man on the street. You know, I apparently in my instance, they're already trying to come up with a defense and mount a defense to say that he may have had a pre-existing problem. They're looking at a toxicology report. You know, the witness was the camera. We already saw what we needed to see. Mm-hmm. And if you have a mayor come out and tell them, so we see all of this, and we know from our talking what we've all gone through at some point in time, how we've had to deal with the police, or how I was taught how to deal with the police by a police officer, which was my fault. So we know all of that. So now I say to you, all this time's gone by, 400 years of slavery, gentrification, unequal opportunities, socially and economically disenfranchised youth, things being perpetuated in your neighborhood to keep that foot on your neck, and now the knee is on your neck. What's your response? What? Be nice?
No, I didn't say be nice.
The initial response is definitely to get up and fight.
You still gotta get up.
I say we keep that going. And the reason why I say,
can we win that fight?
Yep.
Can we?
I think so.
How?
Hey,
you gotta have a solution to a common problem.
Well, I tell you,
Okay,
if you ask me how to win that fight.
What do you consider a win?
Well, according to Sparta, 300 brave soldiers held off 1 million Persians. You can do anything that you want to do if you truly believe in what you're doing, if you believe in your cause. So this is Sparta. But let's just say it that way.
Let's say
we may not have.
Let's say this is Sparta, right? And those 300 men stood a grave stand. Like, that was the most glorious stand that I've seen on any armed front. But was it a win?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Just because of that, was it a win?
They died, but what happened is but historically, that's what we've been doing. Martin Luther King died. Malcolm X died because they were on different scopes trying to arrive at things that we're still trying to arrive at. So here it is. We're in 2020. And I walk the streets and I still feel like I'm in 1960. Right. I still feel like at some point, I had a police officer the other day, I'm crossing the street, and the guy came close enough to me to make me, like I looked, and when I looked at the car, I realized that was a cop, an unmarked car. Like he was taunting me. What I'm trying to tell you is, you know, you cannot, I know you guys are going to call me rogue. You're going to say, you know, I'm sorry, man. Fruit of Islam, the SW1s that was on Fight the I'm sorry. That's where I'm at with this, because to be quite honest with you, if I have to see another brother shot down dead in the street like a dog, something needs to be done. And it shouldn't be, we're going to talk about this. I think I'm tired of talking. Me personally, I don't want to talk about it. I want to be about it. And I say, time for some action.
How do we do that?
But listen, like I said, sometimes you got to fight.
I agree.
That's what
Well,
the Civil
makes it
War.
hard is we outgunned and outmanned. So how do we come to that? How do we get to that fight?
I can't even have this discussion with you because I'm afraid that
Tony,
if I had this discussion with you,
Arnold,
that when I come out my building, there's
civil
going to be two men in
civil
suits looking at me.
Listen,
They're going.
I get it. But
There's going to be an unmarked car following me.
Armed forces, right? You from the armed forces, right? Right.
Yes.
If you're, let's say now, you've been in the war, right? You've been in the war, right?
No war.
No war.
Only the one that's going on right now here in the streets.
Let's exclude this right now from the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
If you're given a direct order, right, to go in and overtake a country or any type of place that you and your infantry has taken over, right? That y'all given the order to do that, right? And you know that there is a high probability that there's going to be pushback, civil disobedience, right? You as the civil overseer doing your job, right? Your first job is to contain and keep the peace, right? That's your first order, to contain and keep the peace, right? Now, if the civil disobedience gets to a higher level, then by physical force, you're given the order to physically abstain and detain. And if it goes to another level, then your physical force becomes deadly force. Am I correct?
Well, if that was exercised in this particular instance, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
I totally agree. But all I'm asking is this: we know that the powers that be, the government, the US government, the police departments all over this country, they prey on the African American community to be civil.
To be what?
They prey on that, for us to be disobedient to the laws of the land. It's us, the people that supposedly are misinformed, not educated enough, or pushed to the side to think that we're not good enough to be educated, which we are. I truly agree and believe that the Black African American dollar is the most coveted dollar in the world because we spend more money and we buy more resources than anybody on this earth. I truly believe. If we start to turn that education not to where we buying everything out of the stores and showing it off to our friends and making sure everybody know that we could turn up and we could do whatever. If we turn that around and educate ourselves on how to keep our money in our own neighborhood,
I'm definitely not against
teach
that.
ourselves.
That's what I'm not against the calculated. I'm not against the calculated. I'm not against the calculated response as far as our own dollars in our own neighborhoods. I'm not against Black businesses. When I was growing up, when Spike Lee put a movie out, I made sure that I made that day, because between him and Singleton, I knew that these were men of color, and I wanted to make sure that they were heard, that people got a chance to see. When rap music came out, I was proud. When Obama became president, I was proud. When I go on Facebook and I have to see managers, people that we work with, no disrespect, and I have to see them, I've had to actually put people in their place and tell them, do you realize what you're saying?
What? You said it yourself. You said it yourself earlier. The chickens came home to roost. We finally got something that we wanted, right? And they're not comfortable with it. That's fine. Let them be uncomfortable in their own skin. Because guess what? All our scratching, all our fighting, all our rock throwing finally came to fruition in 2008. And it's okay. Now, for me personally, from a standpoint of those 8 years, I felt we got a little too comfortable with that because we felt like we made it.
I was just about to say that.
We didn't make it. We just got a piece of the pie that we wanted. But we should want more. We should want to cut off some more of the pie that we want.
But Willie, you do understand what the problem is, don't you? The problem is what happened is we had a man of color in the White House. This is what I call right now. The books have to be balanced. The books have to be balanced, just like in slavery. What, you think you special? We're going to put one of the good old boys in office to make sure that you realize one thing: you're not special. The books are being balanced.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
So what I'm saying to you is, honestly speaking, we are the majority. And I agree with you saying, hey, we should take our dollars and keep them within our communities. But do you understand that there is a system in place? The same way if you go to Las Vegas, they put the carpet and make it busy so your eyesight focuses up. They have lights and bells and whistles to keep your attention on the machines. The new racism isn't just officers beating us down like hotcakes. That's been going on for years. That's something I've been seeing that forever. It's just now it's being documented. The new racism is COVID-19. The new racism is different techniques. See, racism, all it did was racism was wearing a pair of coveralls and didn't have any shoes, and it had a trucker hat with the Confederate flag. Racism now has a three-piece suit. That's all that happened. It just changed as time. We used to call people retarded when they were retarded. Now they just gave them a colorful name. You see, the game is still here. It's just that it grew up.
Even though we know that some people may think it's an unwinnable something to attain after this. Like you said, they took 8 years of stomaching Barack Obama because he won by a landslide. Let's think about that, right? And now we say, you know what? You black people, y'all got too comfortable. Now you got to stomach this guy. Now we're gonna put him, like you said, they put the good old boy back in there with the orange hair and all this other nonsense to make us stomach this. Now my question is, right? Are we going to stomach it and have a plan to get rid of the We gotta
ask Tony. Ask Tony. Ask Dwayne. I really want to hear what they have to say.
Hey, me personally, how I feel about it is that we at the end of the day we have to have understanding of what we want. We can riot, we can burn down buildings. You know what I mean? We can go gun for gun. We can do all of that. But what's the end result that we want that will make us feel that we've gotten the justice that we need from these 4, 5, 6, 700 years of oppression that we've had? All this anger that we have that's built up.
Tony, come on, Tony.
I think what we need is a big plate at the table, because without that, it don't mean everything that we're even talking about.
I would love to agree with that, bro. But I think that even if we had a plate at the table, son.
I ain't talking about not a plate.
Now I'm with Arnold on that point, right? If you want to play at the table, sometimes you gotta force them to take the food that you giving them. You gotta force it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with that point.
That's what I'm saying. Like I'm agreeing with the Green and Arnold scenario.
It's like me wanting you to like Kobe Bryant, and you don't like Kobe Bryant. But if I shove enough Kobe Bryant in your face, you probably gonna say, let me respect this guy, because this guy he really knows who Kobe Bryant is. And you can like Dr. J, and I can't stand Dr. J. But I see enough of Dr. J coming on speaking out of your mouth, and you show me clips, and you show me that, you forcing it down my mouth or forcing it down my throat to make me want to pay attention to him.
All right. So,
councilmen, you got to do this to your assemblymen. You got to do it to your mayors. You have to do it to your state senators. You have to do it to your presidents. You got to force yourself on them.
Yeah, that's our plate right there. If we ain't getting about it, brothers, in those positions,
Tony,
we're getting our brothers and our sisters into the fight.
Say it again, Green.
I showed him my shirt and I showed him the hat, right? And you know what he said? He said, anything I can do to help, bring it to me. Those are the type of brothers, and you rarely have those type of brothers, right?
That's about it.
Those are the type of brothers you need on your side. And even though it may seem like a far-fetched, like I might be reaching too far, but I'm going to reach. I'm not going to just keep my hand in my pocket. If I know I got an ace in the hole that maybe can help me in a fight that I'm trying to fight, because I'm upset just like anybody else out here with this whole nonsense. But you gotta start somewhere. Solutions don't start by just.
I'm not even upset. You know what? I passed upset about 10, 20 years ago. I'm to see this tells me one thing: we've gone nowhere. For all the talk and for all the things that we've said, for every no, we haven't. No, we haven't. You know what they did? They tossed us a bone. You listen. Let me tell you something. You can't fool me. You can't fool me.
I'm the first.
No, I'm saying I'm not talking about you personally.
Out of my family.
I'm not talking about you personally. What I'm saying to you is you can't turn around and you can't just because, all right, big deal. So you decided to allow certain people, but within that scope, what happened to Bill Cosby? What happened? What happened? Why is it that every single time it's somebody who's up there, whether it's Michael Jackson, Bill? Why do you always
wait?
Every
Bill
single
Cosby.
person. What I'm trying to say to you is,
bro.
No. What I'm trying to say to you is that the punishments are different. I'm pointing out the inequalities.
Yo, Bill Cosby.
I'm talking about all of a sudden.
To them stunts,
listen,
man.
I'm not defending people.
Let's not go there.
I'm saying to you, I'm not defending people. What I'm saying is, why is it that men of color do something, and then all of a sudden Michael Jackson's Bill Cosby. Well, there's other people who've been accused of the same crimes, and they're not getting the same treatment.
Let me say this. Now, I agree. I agree with some of your statements, but I can't agree with that. Bill Cosby did something to get where he at. Michael Jackson never had a childhood, so anything that Michael Jackson did around a child stemmed from him not having a childhood or having a strong black male role model besides his father, which he didn't really do much. Any man that could beat their child more than they be an influence on them, your child is not going to amount to much. Really
Big A, that's what you're talking about. Big A definitely is Black Robes, White Justice.
Yeah, man.
If any of you ever read that book, what's the Justice? One of the first black. I think it was the first Black Justice. What was his name?
Marshall.
Yeah. And if you ever read, if it was Thurgood Marshall, I can't remember if it was or not. I mean, who wrote and coined it? And I read a book called Black Robe, White, and it talks about things like he gave good analogies with something that happened with a white doctor and a black doctor and the justice that prevailed after.
Oh, I know. You're probably talking about Dr. Charles Drew. When Dr. Charles Drew
I got the plasma transfer. I just can't remember.
White doctor got into an accident and was able to be taken to the hospital right up the street from his house. But when Dr. Charles Drew got into a car accident, the next blood transfusion center was 15 miles away, knowing that he could have took him to the White Hospital and Dr. Charles Drew died. So, like you said, white privilege, black privilege. You know what I'm saying? So I get where you're coming from.
So it's unfortunately that is going to always be there. But I myself personally, if we don't get this plate, man, and I'm talking about, we got to have these thorough brothers, like just as thorough as Arnold want to be. Like, let's go for the guns, and if I got to be the first casualty, so be it. But there's going to be a lot of casualties if we have that ideology, and ideology is going to be temporary. That's not going to be a long ideology to have. So if we can't, we got to beat them the way that they expect us to be that way. As long as we that way,
Right.
we ain't thinking about a plate. We're not thinking about that plate at the table.
And Arnold, I'm with you, brother. Don't think that I'm not. Don't think that I'm trying.
All of us is with that. All of us is with
But
that.
I know that we gotta have more than one option.
We all think about, if that was me back in those 400 years ago, that wouldn't be me. You got 16-year-olds now. That's about it now. They willing to pull the guns. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know if I'm with that, bro. I was born in the cornfields. I don't know nothing about all this stuff, man. Y'all
But
as much
yo,
as
bro,
these youngsters are revolutionaries right now, I just
all
think
this
that they
don't,
live
yo,
in,
bro,
they
all
live
this
in
don't
because they
mean
don't have
nothing.
nothing. They doing it because they don't have nothing to live for, and that's the way they feel.
Yeah, because until we get there to where they don't want us there. They don't want us at that table. So as long as they keep us in the mind frame of attack, and we ain't taking this no more, and now we're about to start pulling, they ain't got to worry about us up there, and sitting at that table with them.
My aunt said something to me about 2 years ago, right? Like, we're all in the same age group, pretty much. I think a couple of us a little older than each other, right? Because I'm the youngest that we're talking in this group.
Yeah, y'all mid-50s?
No, I'm not there. I'm not there yet. I'm still young, right? I think my aunt said it to me best, right? Where our age group is, right? We're the bridge between old fashions and old ways and the way of the new millennial thinking, the way they want to do things. Yeah, the old people used to kill us. They want to kill them. We're the bridge that would separate anarchy from self-destruction. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, what's up, man?
That's why I say
Say hi. Say hi to my
things,
hi
right?
to my friend. Say hi.
Okay.
What happened? All right, keeping with you because we talking some serious stuff right now.
I think that is Arnold's thought process wrong? No, not by. I'm with him 100% on this thought process.
We all
we
have, but we know that's not reality.
We got to have more than one option to fight with. You know what I'm saying? If we got a gun, we should be able to have money too. You know what I'm saying? To fight with those guns. You know what I'm saying? Because let's say if Arnold walked in and shoot somebody, or we got a lawyer on our side. If Arnold walked in and shoot somebody in defense of what he believes in, what's going on with us right now is wrong, I should be able to say, okay, listen, Arnold calls me, yo, I just bucked somebody because of my civil rights trying to be violated, so I have to defend myself. All right, you need to go and call somebody. Miles need to get to a lawyer. Sachs need to make sure we got bail money to get this man out so we can defend him. That's what I'm talking about.
That's on deck. Being on deck. We on deck.
We can deal with stuff like that.
We on deck.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going out there gun. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. Malcolm man. That's not gonna help if he shoot up the whole neighborhood and we can't get him out of jail. To at least defend himself and give himself a fighting chance to be free because of what he did in defense of him feeling like he could be the next George Floyd. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. And that's
I just know that if I think Public Enemy said it best. I got so much on my mind. Refuse to lose. Here's your ticket. Let the drummer get wicked. When I think about that verse, it's this didn't happen to me yesterday. This didn't happen to me 10 years ago, not even 20. This has been my life. And it's the saddest thing that you, I, Tony, Dwayne have to sit here and have this conversation about how we're supposed to fit into a place that we've been pretty much dragged to. We've been here. The internal working parts of every man on this planet and woman are the same. But there is a judgment based on economics, stature, skin color, and not necessarily in that order. What I'm trying to say to you is we could talk until the chickens come home to roost. But the reality behind this is it's very difficult when I turn around and say, hey, Tony, we're going to have a relay race. I'm going to get a 400-year head start. I'd like for you to catch up. You've already been separated from your families. Your women have been raped. You've been told that you're not a human being, that you're a piece of garbage. You've been hung from trees. You've been burned. You've been misrepresented in court. You've been criminalized, even in wars with the Tuskegee Airmen. It wasn't until they saw that they was about it and they had skills that all of a sudden now they wanted the Red Tails to fly with them, because they knew that they would not allow a single bomber to be lost. All of these contributions that all of our families have made, all the people that have made contributions to say, we matter, we're somebody, we're human beings, even on our job. And what do you get for it? Nothing. We've come only to a new suit that I keep telling you about. Yeah, you still, the coveralls, you can't be, but as this president is now in office, this person, now it's going back to the days where all of a sudden you see Confederate flags. All of a sudden you see and hear things coming from, even the KKK was at his, at one of his gatherings. Come on, man. You know, look, I get it. I know we can't win in battle. I know that we don't have the tools to do that. But at the same time, I think I'm just totally disgusted, and I don't feel safe in a place that's supposed to be my home too. You all pay taxes, don't you? That man paid that man to kill him. He pays his salary. He paid taxes. He's a football player. He pays, so I pay taxes for you to help me, and you put your knee on my throat for a $20 bounce check or a $20 counterfeit bill, and you kill me, and your partner says, hey, you don't have a pulse for 1:53 seconds. And he's saying, Mama, help me. You know, I've listened to you guys, and I got to be honest, I've heard it all. And I've even seen this where I've had to block people on my Facebook, and I'm not going to get into names, but a particular individual made it a point that every time there was something, or a flash mob or whatever the case was, and they were black, there was always the word animal attached to it. I had to block this individual because I felt rage, I felt anger, and I wanted to punch him in the face. Because, you know, nobody should feel comfortable enough that they can do what they're doing right now. And I'm tired of talking. That's what I say. When you got to burn some shit down, burn it down. You got to tear some shit up to get shit off your mind, let it happen. Kaboobie, let the hood represent. Because I think there's been too much talking. Nobody's listening. But I'm telling you, when we started acting a fool, they're listening now. The media's covering it now. Do you understand that that's the posture we always have to take in order to have a voice? That we have to get ignorant. And or it's not just given to you. It's not going to be given to you. You have to be ignorant and stupid and do dumb shit before somebody finally says, you know what? We done pissed them off. We pushed them too far. Now we have to listen. Now all of a sudden, all of your white friends are saying, oh my God, it's terrible. I saw it. I can't believe they did. That's what it takes. It's not an automatic mentality. It's not an automatic mentality that when you get pulled over by a police officer that you sit there and talk shit to him, just like comedians say. I heard him do it. Dave Chappelle said they talk shit to him. The cops are, fuck you, asshole. You try that shit. There is a double standard, and there is a hunt that's involving each and every one of us.
There's always been a double standard, and it's always going to be that hunt. But like Green said, at the end of the day, when you know our anger starts to calm down just a little bit, or we have a moment to sit back and reflect, or we have some time to sit down and look around and see the things that had happened these past days, weeks, or however long it's going to go on. It has to be something.
Arnold, I love you, man.
Has to be something.
I'm mad with you. I'm mad with you.
Yeah.
I still think that our ration.
Bro, I'm with you. I'm throwing the first bottle. I'm telling you. I'm with you on that. But at the end of
no
the day,
mistakes about it. If we out on the front line and we gotta knock heads off, and we I'm right there with you. Oh, it's no question. We going at it. It's not.
I believe that in life, you know, like my girl, she says, and my girl's a white woman. You know what she said? She said to me, she won't watch it. I said, I can't bury my head in the sand. I said, this affects me. It's even the way people look at me.
Right.
People look at me like they feel sorry for me. I hate the fact that I can read people's thoughts, that I can understand what they're thinking. I hate it. I hate the fact that we have to have this conversation. I hate the fact that I got called a nigger. I hate the fact that there were jobs that I wasn't given because of my color. I hate the fact that I got treated a certain way when I walked into a supermarket to pack bags when I was a little boy, and they looked at me like I was the worst thing on the planet. What I'm saying to you is,
with y'all right here, and we bust
this is what they want. They want this response, because what other response would you possibly expect? And you talk about us getting a fair shake, bruh, that shit is not gonna happen. No way, no how. It's not gonna happen. Because why would I turn around if I have control and I'm on top of the hill? I'm not gonna turn around and say, you know, I'm gonna let you have it for a little while. No, that's not the way this game is being played. This game is being played like, I'm on top. You've already given me free labor to take care of my businesses. I've become rich off the labor, the fruits of your labor. I have raped your women. I have segregated you. All of a sudden, it's like, you don't want me anymore. What? You don't want me anymore? What? Now that you're done with me? What? Because you can't get free labor from me? Or because I'm not out in the fields picking your goddamn cotton? My ancestors picked cotton. You can't tell me this anymore. Where's my money? Where's my reparations? Where's the money that was supposed to be given? You want to give me a head start? Start by doing the right thing. Start by prosecuting the same individuals the same way you prosecute us. Don't bullshit me.
Damn sure ain't gonna get no reparations by burning down buildings. We're not gonna get that.
You're not getting reparations ever, Willie. Ain't nobody giving you shit.
Look, I know that. I know that. But I'm just saying from the statement, like, we know damn well we don't get no reparations by burning down buildings.
Shit, I didn't even get a stimulus check.
Even there's a factor in their mind to think about it. We give them just reason to not give it to us. They act like fools. What are they gonna do? What are African American, what a Black American family gonna do with 400 years of reparation in a family that you never seen slavery a day in your life, right? So they decided to say,
what do you mean? I seen slavery my whole life.
What the hell you gonna do with $10 million? Go act a fool.
And you know what you know what they know?
Uncle Sam's still gonna get his.
You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna buy a lot of guns, and they know that.
They gonna act a fool. We're gonna act a fool. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna buy guns, we're gonna buy cars, we're gonna buy sneakers, we're gonna buy all that shit that they expect us to buy and be broke. Watch them. They gonna watch them. We give them reparations, watch them.
I don't mind being the underdog. I really don't, because what happens is in any fight, the underdog will always fight to try to gain notoriety. The point that I'm trying to say is Willie, when you walk out in the street, you're a dad, and I see your beautiful kids.
Right.
Tony, when I see you walk out in the street, Dwayne, when I see you walk out in the street, I fear for you. I fear for your life. I fear that you'll be in the wrong place at the wrong time. And how is that supposed to sit with me if something happens to any one of you brothers? There's somebody that I broke bread with, that we laughed and talked and fought with. How's that supposed to sit with me? Do you understand that this is personal to me? Because it's not just about 5 minutes ago. This is about my whole life, that I've watched people perish, that I've been told that I was nothing, that I wasn't suited for things that I know that I was suited for, that I but served this country, and my father fought in Korea and died and buried in Calverton, and my grandfather died and was blinded by wood alcohol left out by the Germans, who was also in the military. I fought I'm not somebody who just talked the talk. I picked up a fucking weapon and defended this country, the blanket of freedom. And now you turn around and tell me that I'm a nigger and that it's okay to treat us substandardly and to kill us in the street. And now you're already looking for reasons to exonerate them. That's what's making me so angry, because you're already saying, oh, well, they have these different stressors that can happen underneath us. We're already going down that road. We're already going down the road if we're looking for a defense, to mount the defense, to keep one of the good old boys from going to jail. But if it was Tony, if it was you, if you were an officer in Minnesota and you had your knee pinned over a white man's neck and you had 3 other black officers doing that, tell me how this would go down. Any one of you would be lying out your ass and tell me that you'd be locked up immediately. Immediately. So you say to me, we need a plate. And I say to you, how do you get a plate from a table that has 50 plates that don't belong to you? You don't need a plate. You need half the table.
Yeah, and that's the only bad thing is that the plate is they both hard to obtain. You know, that and just guns blazing. Gun blazing is, we all want that. But how many people are willing to be the front line on that? You know? Yeah, all of us would. But then we'll have our families like, no, please don't.
And that's the
you gotta remember, the front line is for the family.
But Willie, but Tony, you know, listen, you have. I'm sorry, Sax. I'm saying that you have to. Do you realize that part of the problem has always been, if you look at different ethnicities or even religions, Jewish people, when they move to communities, they want to know what the school district's like, because they want to make sure that their children get to a school, or that they look at the statistics of the graduates, how many go on to become Ivy Leaguers, because they want to have that voice. What I'm saying to you is, you can't get a voice here. Your voice it's not heard, and it's not going to be heard. And our people, we've been conditioned over the years of the robbery, the greatest crime ever committed to mankind, that we've been conditioned where you turn around and see a brother in the neighborhood. I see him, it's like, Tony, you got a new joint? You got a new car? My man. I look at you and say, yo, if Tony can do it, so Tony, what'd you do to get that? How come you driving a Benz, or how come you driving a Bentley? What'd you do? Yeah, well, I worked and said, that's not our mentality. We've already been pre-programmed, pre-packaged, pre-lube, whatever the fuck you want to call it, that as soon as I see you, you got, yeah, fuck that nigga. He rolling something and I'm not rolling it. We don't have this mentality like the Jewish community where we're keeping money in our neighborhoods.
We got that
like
crab in the bucket. Crab in the bucket.
We've been dealing with that nepotism for years, man.
But that's the problem. How do you change that thought process? It's not. Do you understand that this is the losing deck that you've been handed? That because of the mentality, because of the gentrification, because of the drugs, because of the slavery and the mentality that we have, and everything that has been perpetuated in our communities to keep us on that track, that it is almost literally impossible. We can't even organize as a goddamn union.
Why?
How many injustices are happening to us at work, including COVID-19? How many days did you sit behind that fucking wheel where I had to literally lean my head back to keep from getting this shit before somebody? And why is that? Because I guarantee you, had this been a different schematic, it wouldn't have went down like that. Things would have been done immediately. So if we can't even organize as a union, and I'm not saying that against the union, I'm just saying everybody's like, oh, fuck him. Oh, well, I'm retiring soon. I don't have that mentality. I'm retiring soon. But what happens is I know what it's like to push that wheel like Sax does, like you do. So why in the fuck would I not want to see, hey, here you go. Let me reach back and give you something. I don't want to just leave you there. When you retire, aren't you supposed to have a nice retirement? Don't you want to take care of your families? So how is it that how are we supposed to band together to get this plate when we can't even band together as a people because we have been pre-programmed to be this?
Let me ask you something. Do the union have a black caucus?
Yeah.
Why do I never hear nothing from them?
We have
1,000 bus operators in transit.
Yeah,
that's our black caucus.
No, I'm joking.
We just don't. Before we came on the job, I don't know. Arnold might have been on the job prior when we had an active out of our local. We had an active black caucus, but it fell through the wayside. And as you know, some of you might know, they were trying black. I've been to the Black Caucus meeting a couple of times, right? The Latino caucus, that caucus is about their business. The Black Caucus, in my opinion,
crabs in the barrel.
Now I ain't gonna say crabs in the barrel, but
crabs in the barrel. Call it like it is, man. Call it like it is. Because I'm one of the strong brothers that believes that it will work, and I applaud you for that. But I know that if we do it to the point where people truly believe we can obtain something, you will see the changes. But if it's always just one or two or three talking the same thing in the same triangle, nobody gonna want to hear that.
Well, that's what I'm trying to tell you. That's where your homework is. Your homework is trying to figure out who's going to be the next leader. Because guess what? Whoever the next leader is, what happened to, as soon as we turn around and put somebody on the map, what they do to them? As soon as there was somebody speaking out about segregation, somebody speaking about the inequalities, the injustices, that you had one guy who was speaking very nicely about it, very peaceful. You had another one who in turn was very radical.
But who turned on him? Come on, man.
What, you're gonna say his own people? Yeah. Don't do that. Don't do that to Malcolm. On, don't do that to brother Malcolm.
It's known fact.
No, I don't buy that. That's what you were fed. The
only way you can destroy a people on the uprise is to use the very people that he's trying to uplift.
Well, that's what they did in slavery. White men didn't come into the jungles of Africa, or it wasn't even jungles. They didn't even come into the continent of Africa to take us out. They took other tribes and promised them goods and services in order to go and get rival tribes they didn't like to bring us out. They didn't do it themselves. So that's what I'm trying to say to you.
The only way you destroy a people is destroy them within, not without. You like you said. I don't need a white person to come in here and destroy my family. He can use somebody that look like me, talk like me, act like me, want to be around me to destroy me.
Well, there you go. There's that wonderful suit that I've talked about. That now you're saying now you're on my page. What I'm saying to you is racism.
Then we deserve what we get, though, man.
Well, racism has changed the suit, and you're talking about something that's already been devised. That same casino in Vegas, you see, even our mentality. When I used to go to the movie theater, I would always go, how come all the white people still sitting? I'm not racist, you know this, but I'm like, how come all the white people are still sitting here? Because
hold on, let me step away for a second.
Their upbringing suggested, well, you should sit there and see who the credits are, and they knew interesting facts about where it was filmed and who the director was, and there was a support of these things. Hell, that's what I told you. I said when Spike Lee or Singleton put out movies, I went to the openers of those movies so that this way I was proud to have these men represent us in the film industry. I was proud to have Obama as a president. It wasn't about whether he did wrong or right, because each and every one of them fucked up. He's made mistakes, I get it. But what happens is he carried the hopes and dreams of an entire race on his shoulders.
That we can't prevail. If we get up and push and lift each other up, along as we're rising, we bring those under us up with us. Yeah, and if we continue to do that, yeah, we can eventually get there. But the crab in the barrel mentality has got to be something that's abolished.
has
and
always
huh?
down. Has always.
Do you think we'll ever see it
Do I?
in
I
our
don't think we'll
lifetime?
ever see it in our lifetime. No. I'm just being honest. In our lifetime, no. We'll see steps towards it, but will we see it in totality? No. Our kids
Our great
kids will
our great grands will hopefully reap all this. You know, that the hard work that we put in, our forefathers put in. Maybe.
I don't know why I'm staying on Arnold, because that's my man, because we're on 32 with Sax and you all the time. But I just want him to understand something, and like I said, I understand his beef. But I want him to remember, even though our radicalism is warranted, but we got our power influence is key though, because if you radical and nobody else is, then you're fighting an unwinnable battle by yourself.
That's right. If you're gonna be
activism has to play a role in how we move radically.
I was always taught, Willie, that to pick a side, that you can't float the line of mediocrity, that you should join and be a part of something, and you should fight for what you believe. That's what I was taught. I wasn't taught that by my father. I was taught by a man that I considered to be my father. He taught me that. My father wasn't around. He told me, he says, mediocrity is that's what my girl does. She figures if I just lower my head, it'll go away. And I told her, I don't know how to do that. She says, why do you post the stuff you post on Facebook? I said, because I have to say something, because there's bullies out there, because there's people who are weak, who can't defend themselves. They put commercials about dogs on television and they show them sad. Well, I'm down there on 32nd giving money away to people who I see that are yelling and crying.
I'm with
and
you.
Screaming.
I said that in a depot the other day. I said, listen, there's people out here getting killed, and these motherfuckers on TV showing ASPCA commercials about dogs. And I get it. They're trying to blind the naked eye from what the truth really is. They treating us like shit, and we got to do something to stop it.
I honestly, I've listened to each and every one of you, and I'm sorry that I've spoken so much. I apologize, but you know I got a big fucking mouth, and the reality is, I ain't gonna fucking hide it. I'm fucking long-winded. Fuck that shit.
Yo, Big A though, but that's your you passionate about what you passionate about. And
and I'm saying this as an older person. I'm saying this as somebody who says, I think it's time. I'm sorry. Burn it down.
Don't talk about it.
I saw Do the Right Thing. I'm sorry. When Spike Lee went up and picked up that garbage can. When I saw Spike Lee throw that garbage can through the window, it's almost like I exhaled, because the only thing was Radio Raheem dude, listen, do you realize that could be Tony? That could be Willie? That could be Dwayne? It could be me. It could be any one of us that gets stopped by a law enforcement officer. So you don't think I would fight just as hard for you as I would for somebody? I don't even know him. But what happens is he's a representation of us, because he carries one thing we all have in common.
Man,
that tone, that melanin.
Burn it down, man.
And all it is because what happens is you were supposed to be in a continent or an area so that this way you could filter out the sunlight, because that's how your body produces vitamin D. So your dark skin pigmentation is indicative of you being in a continent more tropical, more sunny. Whereas somebody who's Scandinavian, they're more fair-skinned, so that when the light comes out, their body can produce vitamin D. Your skin color has to do with where you belong on the planet. That's all it is. But what happens is, that's not what this is about. Your skin color says immediately, you've been prejudged. Even Asians, they even hate us. There's books written on don't date black people. They don't even want us. Have you ever tried to walk into a restaurant in Flushing and have people look at. I walked in there to get something to drink because I forgot my drink in my bag. They looked at me like, "Nigga, what you doing in here?"
Listen, this whole pandemic has taught me one thing. You got to see people for who they are and what they stem from. And if you're stupid enough to fall into the trap and feed into it, you're just as dumb as them. So for our people, and I say our people in general,
I've been feeling this way.
With the picture, the broad picture that they're giving us, no, we don't do away with it.
I've been feeling this way for a while, and I think part of the biggest problem is I had made an announcement on social media that I was only going to promote my music, and it turns out that like the people that I see that I work with, I couldn't believe that we were being called. I couldn't believe that they were saying things and comfortably being racist. Why is that such a surprise to you, though? It's not a surprise to me. It's not a surprise to me at all. And you'd be surprised at the individuals that were saying things.
I'm sort of like you, but I'm calculated in who I say it to, right? If I'm going to tell somebody to their face how I feel, I'm pretty sure every man that these four men that are talking right tonight, right? We're all men's men. I'm going to tell you to your face, white, black, Asian, or Latino, does not matter what race you are. If I tell you I don't like you, even if it's my own race.
Well, Willie, I agree with you. You will. Willie will say it.
I'm not gonna.
He'll say it.
Yeah, but
he'll say it.
It makes it important for you to say it, because you will put up a facade thinking that somebody is really, really for you when they're really, really against you.
Yeah.
You against me? Tell me. So that way I know how we. This is why I say I love the guy like Andy McDonald, right? Not love him in the stand of I respect him. I loved his demeanor because he was
an equal opportunity asshole.
Right. So pretty asshole across the board with everybody, right? Mm-hmm. So I knew how to deal with him, just like everybody else here. You knew how to deal with him. Yep. So why do we as black people, right? And I say this in agreement with you, we turn the other cheek a lot. But if we stop turning the cheek and just tell it the way it is right then and there, we won't have that issue. We won't have that problem. Especially like you say, you play your music. You know, they probably say, yo, man, he playing that jungle music again. Blah, 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 blah. He playing that jungle music again. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear some Barry Manilow. I want to hear some Bee Gees. I'll tell him in a minute. I don't want to listen to Andy Gibb. I don't know him. So what's the difference? The difference is, like I work for a radio station and say, we say what they can. I'm going to tell you what I need to tell you. And if we wipe our hands with each other after that and we don't speak no more, cool.
And I think that's why
I'm not going to go sleep. What you eat don't make me shit.
We've all
and you be respected. You respect me, though.
Yep, we've all been the same way. Y'all know me. I always speak my mind. I don't care who's around me. You know what I mean? I've said it the way it should be said, when it needed to be said, at the time it's supposed to have been said, right then and there. I've told dispatchers, supervisors, look, this don't even concern you. I'm gonna need you to close your ears because I'm about to get at this dude right now. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's gonna be said right now. Period.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But that's man to man. This is. I've always been like that. I've always been a person to come to the individual. I'm not going to Superintendent A-hole over here to ask him to talk to you because no, I'm gonna go to the individual myself and have the conversation.
Ask if you ever go around the depot, go talk to Duke Sullivan and ask him, am I about it?
Willie, please don't go there. Don't go there. Please don't go there.
Ask him about it.
I'm gonna say this to you. You know, you guys have spoken, and I've listened, and even though we've said so much, it doesn't take away. There's a burden. I'm uncomfortable.
Should be.
Like I'm uncomfortable because I feel that there's something else is going on that we don't understand, or we don't know, or that we don't have the privilege to know about. Between COVID-19, the president that's in office, and the obvious escalation and bigotry and all the different things that are happening, it's very difficult for me as an intelligent and educated man to turn around and say, I feel comfortable.
No.
I have a discomfort, and I would love for any of you to tell me, how am I supposed to walk out my door every day and feel comfortable when I hear on the news COVID-19 is killing black people?
What you said.
Police officers are killing black people.
What you said.
The president is turning around and he's promoting killing black people.
You said it yourself, bro. You got to birth something out of that. If there's an uncomfortableness there that you got, right? Shouldn't something stem from that to help you deal with your uncomfortableness, to make sure that you're doing the right thing in that?
Yeah.
Then on top of
you ready to go shoot? Let me get you the scope, man. Let me go on my closet.
Listen, 38 rounds out of 40 at a 300-meter silhouette, U.S. Army. And he told me, he said, it figures that you can shoot. All right. Listen, I'm not telling you I'm promoting violence and I want to hurt. I don't want to kill anybody.
Hey, Big A, take the basketball out. There you go, right there. Take the basketball out. Snipe team.
I'm gonna make that. I gotta be up at 5. I gotta be to work at 5 a.m. I still ain't eat dinner, so I'm gonna grab something to eat. But I want to say to y'all, man, I just feel, being that I'm the youngest of this group right here, like I said, I'm an optimist. Most of the things that I think about, because like I said, I've seen a lot in my young years, and I've been through a lot. So I know that.
Are you optimistic?
If my hatred wants to be there, I still feel that there is a solution to it. Will I ever see it? Only God knows. Only you know.
Hopefully.
Will we ever see
Hopefully.
it? Hopefully.
Hey, Green. Are you optimist because of your faith too, right?
That too. That plays a role, because I never want to see my people hurt. And you know, and the real factor of it is, we're getting killed for no apparent reason, and that's foul to me. But I do think that our retaliation will only create more retaliation. Do I say it's not warranted? No, it is warranted.
Well, I'm blowing my horn. What I'm telling you is what you guys have provided for me today is therapy. It's therapeutic to have a conversation with other brothers to see.
Yo, Big A.
This is this barbershop conversation we needed to have.
And this right here too, hopefully help you stand down for a few until everybody is ready. Don't go out there by yourself, bro. You're gonna need your team with you.
Yeah, because
you know, Tony, here's the saddest thing about this. I even the fights that I had, even when I bounced clubs and I tossed people out on their ass, I've never ever felt good about that. My wish and my hope was that I could sit here and, let's just say you were a man not of color, and I could have a conversation with you and express it, and you would receive me and understand, and you would say, you know what, I have a piece of pie. Let me share that with you. I see a world that, Willie, I'm a man of faith as well. I'm a Christian. Mm-hmm. My belief is that it's not in the president, it's in God himself. Right. And I understand. I'll tell you my faith is in God, but what I'm saying to you is that doesn't stop me from being a human being. I'm a man of flesh.
I'm not saying that at all, but I get you. But this is my thing too, right? If you say you have faith in something, but should never be a part of your sentence. But this.
What's that?
I said, if you say you have faith in something, right, but should never be a part of the equation. You have faith, that's it. to know that even though the situation may not look in your favor, I got faith that this is going to happen to me regardless to what I see with the natural.
I agree.
Makes sense. God says you have faith the size of a mustard seed, the mountain would move. So with my faith, you don't need a whole little bit. You don't need a lot. You just need to have faith, period. That's it.
You're right.
And our problem with our people is we say we're something. And when people tell us to prove it, not you per se, or not us per se, why we can't prove it. So my question and my admonishment to us as brothers is, if we say we're going to do something or we say we're about something, prove it. I can't prove that I'm a man of faith and say that I'm a man or I'm a minister of the gospel in my mouth and y'all don't see it, me walking it every day. Y'all see what I'm about every day. I'm not out here hating on people and trying to do this, and I'm not saying that in the stance of trying to deflect what you saying and how you feel, Arnold. But I'm not gonna tell somebody that I hate them. Do I dislike certain things about people? Yes. I love everybody because the greatest of these things that God has given us is love, right? So if I don't have to like you. I don't have to like who you are inside, but I love you because you were made from the clay, the potter, and I'm the clay, and the potter molded us the same way. Just because we got a different tone of clay doesn't mean we're not made from the same clay, and the potter did not make us the same way. We're made the same way. We just have different views on everything. So for me to negate what an Asian person says, or African-American person says, or a white person says, or Indian, or whoever, it's my job as a man of faith to hear all sides of everything and not judge the sides of everything that I hear. Take a nugget from you, 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 put it together and see what I come up with. If it's solutionatory, cool. If stuff needs to still be added to that ingredients, let's find it. Let's add it. Because all we're going to do is find ourselves anyway.
And it's that ingredients that make that rock.
That's right. We're gonna find ourselves in that anyway, regardless if it looks a different color or a different shape or a different creed. It's us anyway.
Yeah.
It has to start somewhere.
God didn't say he was white. God didn't say he was black. God said the people of God. We have to have a beginning somewhere. The beginning right now, at this present time, this very moment, is anger. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what everybody's feeling.
We can be angry.
And church, where two or more gather is church.
We're taking the very principles of what God has told us not to do.
Correct.
But we have to pay for that.
Go there.
The judgment.
Let me go there. So, okay. So with all that being said, bro, we covered so much stuff, man. So much stuff, and I know everybody's got to go because people got to go to work. People got to eat. People got to relax. I'm getting ready to play a house set. But one thing I want to cover real quick before everybody go, man, and I've been trying to do this for a while. You know, we've been going through a lot at the JOB. Mm-hmm. Covering this COVID-19, doing a lot of things, trying to. I preach so much to everybody, bro. Safety, and you know, you get a lot of people. I talk to a lot of cats. A lot of cats like, yo, bro, I do X, Y, and Z. I don't care what they do behind me. Me, I care about what they do behind me. You understand what I'm saying? And the reason why I care what they do behind me is because I got to come home to a family. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm not just talking about my physical family here either. When I'm talking about coming home, I'm talking about driving that bus into the depot and seeing you guys. Because you guys got to go home to a family. So if I'm bringing all of this trash behind me into the depot and coming to you, yo, what's up, Will? Yo, what's up, A? What's up, T? Now you taking that trash that I just brought to you home to your family.
Yo, man, chill.
You ain't so.
You know, I'm sorry. You know, you always gonna have the one guy who's gonna say, "All right, I know so and such is behind," and you're always gonna have somebody who says, "They don't really care." I understand your plight and how you feel. I totally get it. But not everybody is vigilant, or the words, the transit words that they're subliminally put into our heads. But the reality is, this is, I've had a couple of Facebook Live broadcasts where I got very passionate about people coming to work, because I saw that maybe Miles, maybe he wanted to have some time himself with his family, because you didn't know if it was going to be your last days with your family. I totally understand where you're coming from. The only thing is, we're only as good as the weakest man on deck.
What I'm saying is that we have to create a culture where we protect ourselves. We can't rely on transit to do it for us.
I mean, they provide from the beginning. Yep, I agree.
They provide some of the PPE, but we have to provide a platform where, go on this website, bro. You'll be able to get your own mask for this. Go here and you can get your own sanitizers or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? Spray it on your own bus, bro. Don't rely on these dudes. Because I seen a dude the other day signing the paper and walk off. Son, you're not going to clean the bus like you said you was going to do? Because I specifically saw you walk on the bus, sign the paper, and walk off.
Oh, snap.
And see, like I told you, bro, I speak my mind. Do you understand what I'm saying?
This is what I suggest, right? I know some people might be far-fetched. Some people, I think, it's asinine, because, of course, people ain't going to want to, give to a purpose, right? Mm-hmm. I say it's 4 of us here, right? If we start to contribute to a purpose, let's say monetarily, right? If we take $20 out of our checks every week, let's say that. Let's use that as the springboard, right? We put it into a kitty for our family that we say we see every day on the road, right? We put that into a kitty for, let's say, 4 months. We go out, we find a supplier, we find supply. We delegate the supplies, whether it be spray, whether it be hand sanitizer, whether it be something for our membership or our brothers and our sisters that we fight in this struggle with every day at work. And we go and give them a bag, a duffel bag. This is for you. Now, once we give you this bag, we're going to ask you, not tell you, because we're doing this out of the generosity of our hearts, because we care about you, because you fight with us every day. Our ask is you contribute back into that so it can be done again, not only for you, but somebody else that drives and looks exactly like you.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to, I think everybody, I think we've gotten into a mentality, and that mentality has definitely been, there's not a lot of people who are selfless. I think everybody has a particular, Brother Sachs said that, when he goes home, he wants to make sure his family's okay. And I understand that. And I want to make sure we all want the same things. I think that we just have different passions and different goals.
My grandmother said it best to me, God rest her soul. When you do things for people, right?
Sure.
You separate the cows from the cud. You separate the people that want to stay fat, that want to do something and be full other people. You separate them from the shit. You understand what I'm saying?
No doubt.
So this would separate, like you said, like we say in man's terms, just separate the men from the boys. We know your mentality. If we come to you doing this as a service, because we all need it, and we all deserve to make sure that we're safe out there, right? And we do this and say, you know what? We're asking for your contribution. If you give us some shit, no problem. Enjoy that bag in good health, my brother. See you when I see you. You've already gotten rid of a problem that you already know now. That's what I'm talking about, strategy. If we do it from the bottom of our hearts anyway. So we know if somebody denounces what we're doing, we know where your heart is. That's how.
What is it? Dwayne? What is it that you're looking for? What are you looking for?
Honestly, I'm just looking more for the safety of our members, bro.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with nothing, as far as myself. I'm doing what I got to do to protect me and my family. You understand what I'm saying? When I come home from work, I don't even come through my house.
No doubt.
I go through my back door. I have a bathroom right there. I go straight and I sanitize myself.
Well, I think Tony, out of all of us, definitely wanted to make sure that he had a voice, and he got involved in the union
I got involved early, like almost day one when I stepped
like
in,
the third year, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, the fourth to be elected, but my day one that I got involved, it wasn't because I knew anything about the job. It was because of the last job that I was on, how the union fought for me. I worked for the distillers union out east, and I seen how they fought for me. I was like, you know what? I want to make sure that these young cats, and still to this day, because I'm on the 44, so when the training cats are going, taking the bus for training, I get to talk to those brothers and sisters. And I give them my phone number. I was like, yo, bro, sis, if you need any info, whatever, feel free to give me a call. And I'm still friends with a lot of them. Even two of them are in the depot. Nana, I met Nana.
One of them right here.
Yeah, yo, so, I'm like that. You know what I'm saying?
Walked up on Tony. Tony walked up on me.
So I'm like that. But unfortunately,
everybody don't carry those same sentiments, man. Like,
I was 24/7 with the job. Cat called me 2, 3 in the morning. I got to be up at 6.
Oh my God.
I have to tell her, I said, I don't care as long as it's something serious. Don't call me because somebody didn't put an ABA in for you or something like that. Come on, that can wait to another day, man, or something like that. But if it's something serious, and still to this day, if I'm in the depot, because fortunately a lot of the dispatchers still respect me and and stuff like that. If a cat gets in there and they're trying to send them home, I'll go up to the window and say, yo, look, what happened? Give me ABA or something. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to do that. You know what I'm saying? And I still to this day, and I still help, but that's individuals. And
fellas, listen, I don't want to be rude, but I know we're gonna have to table this because I know 520 ain't gonna come fast enough for me.
Yo, bro, lucky
you
for
see,
me.
I'm my church is house music, and I just think this is my purge. This is how I get rid of it.
I could go FMLA, but Tommy will never pick up the phone, so I ain't trying to feel like that.
Yo,
if he do pick it up, he gonna go like this. He gonna throw it.
Yo, hold on.
Put the phone down. I ain't got time for all that.
Hold on.
Yeah, but listen, man.
Well, look, fellas, it was a pleasure talking to all you dudes.
Yo, it was definitely real, man. Love you guys. Love
you back, man.
Love all you dudes, man.
Make it part 2, man.
Oh, without question, man. Definitely.
What we need to do is we need to platform this on social media and get more people involved. That's what I would like. I would like to see other people. What happened? That's okay. But listen, we got a chance. We could have taken this to Facebook Live. We could have hosted it.
And it's funny because when Sax was talking, we was talking. I was saying like, how could we get this on all the other platforms and stuff like that?
Well, what happens is you can. They would have to have, like, I didn't have this app. Sax told me about it. So what you do is people have to have the app, and then you turn around and you post the link. You share the link to social media, and you say, give your flyer, say what it's about. When they click on that link, it brings them into the conversation. Now, I don't know anything about Zoom. This is my first time using it.
Zoom is good.
Well, once I have the platform already set up, bro, you won't need a link for this actual platform right here. They can actually either go to Facebook Live or YouTube. I'll have it set up to where all they gotta do is go to either one of the platforms.
Yeah, this is nice because you get a chance to see who's talking, and you know, it's cool. I like this.
Yeah.
And you can have conversation.
I got some food upstairs waiting for me, and it's past my.
Go on and eat your collard greens and stop messing around, man.
Collard greens. I'm eating. Look. I'm racist. I'm eating Thai food tonight.
I don't know what's wrong with me, but I've been eating collard greens. I've been eating Glory collard greens out the can with red kale rice and my veggie meatball, because y'all know I ain't eating no meat. I'm not putting no pork on my fork, no fish on my dish.
No collard greens, man.
I need that, man. You got to get the greens in you.
Stay rooted, baby. Stay rooted.
That's right. You know, vegetables make the doodle slide.
I'm out. Yo, I love y'all, man. I'll see y'all later.
All right, love you too.
Back.
All right, peace,
Good,
bro.
man.
All right.
In a minute.
Nice combo.
No doubt. Peace.
Peace.